Vince Grotto, your host, episode 3, Clint Stoy, 6 seasons, Allen Community College. How's it going?
It was going well till about the end of March. So
No kidding, no kidding. Now, you guys, our outdoor season was affected. We'll dive right into that. You were, like, done. Like, that was when you guys, that's got to be hard. You guys have gone through fall ball. You grinded it out, all those sessions, all the double days, all the, the stuff no one wants to really do. You had, how many games did you have up until that point, or did you get to play?
we had, I think we played 17 or 19 games, something like that. I mean, you just kind of move on to the next, and then you're worried about your players and getting them out of here. I mean, our kid played shortstop for us from Canada. He got out the day before the travel ban hit because I called him. I said, dude, you need to go. And so he said he called me, and he said he was walking through the Seattle airport and people are in hazmat suits. And I mean, he's like,
Outbreak, the movie Outbreak.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And he had to self-quarantine for 14 days. And he's such a great human being that he actually did it for 14 days where they were making it voluntary in Canada. And he's like, I ain't messing around with it, so.
Yeah, that, I still, indoor is kind of like, I don't want to compare it to fall ball, but indoor for us is kind of like, where are we at fitness wise? Did you do anything over Christmas break? How are you? Let's get these cobwebs out. Let's figure each other out. Let's figure out training. I usually just train through indoors, so I was excited because I felt like I finally figured my runners out. What they respond to and adapt. And outdoor, see you later. And I always felt bad for you because I at least had a season somewhat. You guys just, see you later. And you guys get it back, right?
Yeah, our
how's that going to work out?
It's really case by case basis with our sophomores that we had, because some of them didn't necessarily have a place that they wanted to go play. If they did, it maybe wasn't the level that they felt like they were going to end up at. And then you had some guys that have been here that are academically sound that I said, we need to find you a place to go play. Because I'm not gonna have you spend your 4th year out of college, because some of them are transfers, and I don't need seniors at a junior college.
It'd be nice though. It'd be nice.
Well, there's no doubt.
If it was about you, it'd be nice, but it's got to be about them too.
Correct, and I mean, and that's something that we've always prided ourselves on, is not worrying about the wins and losses as much as the personal relationships and getting our guys graduated and moving them on to 4-year schools. But
everywhere you've gone, you've been around successful programs. You've, dive into your coaching, like your path. What got you into what? As a player,
I finished up playing. Yeah, I mean, and I've, when you're 25, 26 years old, you love to talk about how good you were as a player, or I never really was like that, but you kind of get out of that. But I was very successful as a player. I played on Team USA. It was a 2-time All-American, American Airlines All-American. Played for 2 great programs.
Yeah.
And Coach Dave Burrows at Cali, I got done playing and was teetering on whether or not to play professional baseball or not. Because at that point, you put so much into it that, you'd like to go play, but you're realistic that I don't want to go and spend 3 months in the heat in Jupiter, Florida, and, chase a dream that I really know in my heart of hearts probably isn't ever going to happen.
Yeah.
So I immediately got into coaching at Crowder for Chip Durham. And then at that time, I was lifeguarding at 5:30 in the morning until 9:30. I'd go into the office until 11. I'd go up to the local nice sit-down restaurant and wait tables for lunch.
Yeah.
And then I would come back, go to practice, and then have to leave about a half hour early from practice to go to night class for grad school. And I was also an associate scout for the Chicago White Sox at the exact same time. So I did that for 2 years, and then our 3rd year was kind of our breakout year at Crowder, and we were a game away from being able to play to go to Grand Junction, and I ended up following Chip to Nicholls State University, a Division I down in Louisiana, and then was there for 2 years, and it monetarily it just wasn't wasn't fitting the bill, you
Yeah.
know. So you're kind of like, man, like that was kind of one of those breathtaking moments that you have as a coach that you're, you know, like, is this really what I want to do?
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
And then after that, I went out to, I went up to Labette, and they had been struggling, and then I went in and handled the recruiting side of it, and we increased in wins both years. And then I went to the University of New Mexico, and we went to the Cal State Fullerton Regional on ESPN on the West Coast, so it's the only thing on. So I'm getting tons of text messages, and that was extremely, extremely cool. And then was fortunate enough to be able to throw BP and coach to some really good players. And then my last stop before here was Iowa Western, and then accepted the head job here, and that's about it.
I always felt like this was a baseball college, and I saw Val take the program, build it, grow it, and my wife and I always talked to her. I was like, I want to do something like that. I want to be able to pass something to someone else that's established, that's just grown, you know. So I've always held the baseball program. I was like, I want to have that, you know. Obviously, it takes time, and you just have to grind it out. So I think that's really great that you've been able to have the success you had to grind, had when it looked like, you know, it was this coaching thing for me, stuck with it, and finally you got, okay, now let me see what I can do here. You know, I love that your journey has taken you, because most guys would just give it up. You know, am I right?
A lot do, yeah, and that's for me, and I always felt the exact same way as you. This was always a target job that I felt like that, given enough time and given enough resources, that you could come in and build something.
Yeah.
And that's what we're still in the process of doing, obviously. You know, and you can't replace the alumni here. I mean,
No.
they're second to none. It's the strongest alumni following that I've ever seen.
I love it. I love that.
Yeah, and they come together, and you get to hear stories from guys in the 80s and guys in the 70s and guys in the 2000s. And the fun part about it now is now my guys are
Telling
starting
stories.
to trickle back.
Yeah,
You know,
telling
and
stories.
I'm like, dude, you're lying. You know, that never happened. Like, Coach, I swear, no, it didn't. You know, and so that's it's always been a good tradition. Some years the wins and losses haven't necessarily been there, but you know, that's not a byproduct of the people that are churning out of here. And you know, we've just tried to basically produce good student athletes and move them on.
Yeah, for sure. Now, coaching style. You've been around many different coaches. You've been able to plug, pull, you know, play. What is your coaching philosophy, your style? What do you prefer? Like what defines you, or are you defined by are you a system coach? Is there certain things that you look for? Tell me about your coaching philosophy.
In my opinion, whenever you coach and you get an opportunity to be at several different places like I have been, a lot of times you're picking out how you wouldn't do stuff versus how you would do stuff. So because if you don't have your own ideas as an assistant, and although you're loyal and you keep those to yourself, if you don't have your own ideas, then you're never going to be able to be a head coach.
Yeah.
Because if you're just going to take somebody else's system, and you know, that's fine. I've taken something from everywhere I've been, and I use it here as well as my own ideas. But as far as philosophy and style, I mean, I'm a player's coach.
Yeah.
You know, we have a system and we do things a certain way, and that's black and white. But as far as, you know, maybe your performance or how you maybe think that you're going to be a little bit more comfortable than, all right, everybody A, B, C, D, this is how you throw, this is how you hit, this is how you field, this is how, you know, we don't necessarily cookie cut. And that's huge to our guys, because I have a saying I tell guys all the time, like, it's your career. Like, I'm here to help advance your career.
Yeah.
So if a guy ever comes to me and, you know, says that they don't feel comfortable doing something, well, I'm giving you suggestions to try to help your career. If you don't want to take those, then don't take them.
Yeah.
That's not difficult, you know.
It's funny you said the plug and play. When I got lucky with my coaching job at 23, was hired. I did the plug and play where I came from a successful 4-year school in AIA, Hall of Fame coach. took my workouts and just kind of just matched them up with the days, I got so many mixed results, and I didn't like it because I didn't understand what I was doing. I just was plug and play. And so then I kind of went away from that and then just started basically just making mistakes. Just, oh, that didn't work. Well, can't do that one. I felt like I needed to make those mistakes and to grow my training system or to grow my system itself. You got to make these mistakes. You got to mess up, because if you start learning, you're going to become a better coach, you coached at 2 year and 4 year. Do you prefer a different level? Do you like what, is there a difference?
There's 1,000% a difference. At the 4 year level, you get them for 4 weeks in the fall. Here, you get them for 16 weeks.
That's huge. That's huge.
So where if you have a sprinter that comes from a highly regarded high school that has sprinters, or they're coming in and they already know what to do.
Yeah,
they're good. So at the Division I level, they're getting student athletes that are already polished.
Yeah.
So they can come in and they've played on these elite travel teams and they've done these things, and not saying that they don't develop them. I'm not saying that whatsoever, but we get 4 to 5 times more time to develop.
Yeah.
So if we're going to get, and that's why a lot of Division I schools go and recruit junior colleges, because they know that they've played.
And it's huge. I know, I don't think it's still talked about, but I know they were talking about, well, it's baseball. They practice it too much in the fall, and I can't agree with you more. It's huge. You're here in the fall. You got to get developed, and 16 weeks is tremendous versus 4 weeks, because there's a lot of errors and a lot of kids will come in who aren't developed or have bad mechanics that in 4 weeks you want to be able to correct that. It takes 4 weeks just to break something, semi-break it, and then another 4 weeks to all right, can we try to repair it? Now you've got another 4 weeks to let me implement what I want to implement now. And then you got another 4 weeks, okay, let's try to polish this. Well, now we're in Christmas. Don't lose it. And now you're coming back. Do you find it hard when they come back from Christmas, or have they retained a lot of stuff?
The first couple years it was a little tough, and then we kind of pride ourselves on trying to recruit the right players, the right kids from good families, and those you don't have to really worry about, because we'll give them workouts and we'll give them programs, and
yeah.
I kind of give them workouts assuming they're going to do half. So so you're doubling up probably what they should, but they get home and they've invested in their bodies, and they've invested in their craft. So a lot of times they're going to go, I would say 9 out of every 10 guys is going to go and do what he's supposed to do. And it's very evident who hasn't when they get back.
Oh yeah. That's how with running, you can't fake. You're either out of shape or you're not. Like, you can't fake that. And there's nothing worse, especially in track, where you can see a pitcher or a batter, like, you're exposed, like, you're centered. Here you are. If you're on a track, you're out in front of everyone.
Yes.
You can't hide. If you have a pitcher or someone or a batter who's not doing what they're supposed to do, or an outfielder who's out of shape, if he's 2 seconds, if he's 1 second slower than what he was in the fall, spring, he's not making that jump on the ball. He's
right.
That it goes from an out routine to, a double, maybe pushing triple. That affects everybody. The assistant coaches, what are the names?
Chris Milam and Drew Noble.
Okay.
Drew is from right up the road.
I need to get Drew on. I antagonized Drew. That KU, you remember the KU basketball game we were fundraising?
That was
I'm gonna ask
great.
about that. I want to ask him how that was. That was a fun time.
And Chris Milam's my other assistant,
Yeah.
and I hit the jackpot with that guy. He's an amazing human being, a great friend, a diligent worker, and he has as much experience as I do.
He's out of sight, out of mind, but you see him doing stuff nonstop.
Well, I mean, you look at the signing class,
Yeah.
and we're bringing in the most talent that we've ever had here.
That's
and
good. That's good.
He's to attribute for that. I mean, he went out and he continues to eat, sleep, and breathe it. And whenever you feel like you're kind of, I don't want to say you're the only one, because I have had some good assistants here, but they've all been younger, and this was one of their first coaching jobs. Well, he's been a head coach before. He's worked in professional baseball before. He's worked at the college level, the high school level. He's worked at all. So he's comfortable in his own skin that he's like, I'm comfortable in my own skin that he has a lot of input to what we do. And I think that he knows that. And it has never become like an ego thing.
Yeah.
And
That's cool.
to where like,
it's
well,
radical.
I should be the head coach, or
Yeah.
or me, where I'm the head coach. That's never happened. It's been two guys that are comfortable enough in their own skin because we're both older.
Yeah.
He's a little bit older than me, so I'm comfortable enough and have a big enough ego to drop my ego to know that we needed to get better.
Yeah.
And whenever I came across him and had a chance to hire him, it was absolutely a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And now you're getting ready to see why I hired the guy.
And you have best of both worlds. You have a young gun who's going to just be green and get it and go, and who's been in the Jayhawk, who's played, community college, and you're in the middle, and then you have a guy older. That's, you get the best of both worlds. So I look
Yes.
forward to seeing that as well.
Yes,
So,
and I mean he's a great family man. I mean he's just a salt of the earth guy, and now you understand why we're signing some of the talented guys that we're signing is because of who he is as a person, and so I don't tell him enough, how much he's mean to us.
and he probably doesn't need to hear that either. But
No,
yeah,
no. I mean, and he means a lot to us, but if the guys he brings in come in and suck, then I'll probably be saying something different, right? But I've seen all of them, so I know that the guys that we're bringing in are going to get the job done, and we're excited, man.
What's you very value student athlete, and you really put a lot of effort into that. The GPA, what are your thoughts on that?
I think you go to a community college, a 2-year school, to get an associate's degree. So we want all of our guys to be on track to graduate, and then we take steps to ensure that they have the right foot in the door as far as we make them go to class. It's not a suggestion that you go to class.
Yeah.
It's mandatory, and you're gonna pay the price if you don't. And and the faculty here is awesome, and I feel like Tosca Harris Sardine does a great job with bridging the gap between the coaches and the faculty, and I myself am faculty, so that I think that helps as well.
I'm adjunct, so I kind of understand what you're talking about.
So I feel like that helps as well. But in the last 5 years, we've finished top 10 in the entire country in team grade point average every year for the last 5 years. So that's kind of something that became a streak. So the guys know it, and they're like, "Hey, you really want to get under his skin, like get some bad grade reports, So
the faculty, staff, and the athletics and everything you have to be everyone on the same page. It really do. It's important because without anyone on campus, there's no causes.
And that's something that I don't think we tell them thank you enough. Because they're.
I never thought of that way. You're right.
Because you'll see them in passing, and some of them will text me or call me on my cell phone, and I'll do the same. And like, hey, like Johnny, is he okay? Or because he hadn't turned in blah 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 blah. And then my next call is to Johnny saying you need to stop by my office immediately. And then we close the door and me and Johnny have a visit, and then Johnny either figures it out or he goes home. So it's everybody knows how it works. All of our guys know how it works, and when you build a good enough culture, then your players police it. They're like, probably not going to do that, and so it's a we over me type situation here now, and it's been very gratifying to watch it kind of manifest itself and watch guys police each other. And it goes on because the first year I was here, I had guys in trouble left and right and kicking guys off left and right. And then, now if we have one alcohol violation in the dorms a semester, it's big news. Because guys know, like, hey, probably don't want to do that.
The virus hit. So we talked about it. What'd you think of the whole virus? People panicking. Did you the toilet paper thing? What was that?
I
Did you
did.
understand that?
No, I mean, self-admittedly, I went to Walmart and bought a bunch of food, and bought about 3 boxes of shotgun shells, and
Just in case.
stayed at the, yeah,
Yeah, just in
I
case.
stayed at the house, and I didn't go anywhere for about 3 weeks because, you know, I I took it serious.
Yeah.
And I mean, I still do take it
Yeah.
serious, but back then it was, all of a sudden you go into, mode to protect
Yeah.
your own,
Yeah.
and so I wasn't about to, because then you start shutting the businesses down, then what happens next?
Yeah.
People go
Yeah,
hungry and
yeah. I've seen Walking Dead. I've seen all those.
yeah, that's
I've seen all those.
I watched too much Netflix.
I did too. I went through like my wife and I were going through the top 10, and I'm like, we were watching all the movies that dealt with, when things like go crazy and all
Right.
of the threatening the outbreak, and the whole time I had someone cough, I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm freaked out as it is. I'm thinking everyone's suspect because I always social distance anyway. I just do my own thing anyway. Same thing with you. So it became more of I've already do this. So it's not like, I'd be at the store, I'd be avoiding people, or if somebody was walking by me, I would like look the other way. So I didn't.
Yeah,
really-
I would got to where I was, if I had to go to the gas station, I was like using the sleeve of my shirt
Yeah,
to open
just-
it up. And,
Yeah,
I was
too.
doing all that stuff, and then now, the more evidence that's come out, and
Yeah.
and all the, because when you start doing research, and I kind of drove myself crazy a little bit.
I had to get away from it too.
with looking at social media and all that, and I got away from it, and then started watching Netflix, and
Into the world, so you start thinking like,
yeah.
You
Started
know-
doing stuff around the house and painted my deck, and Greg Shields helped me paint the deck.
I got a
Shields
lot of-
Barbershop, there's a plug.
there you go, every time, there you go. I got a lot of like summer projects already completed, on the weekends because I had any meets to go to. So I was just like,
Yep,
all right, I guess I'll just
do those now.
do those now. You have a child? First child? How old?
He will be 4 in July 20th.
Nice, nice.
He's still kind of at that blow and go stage where, he wants to go to the park, he wants to do this, he wants to do that, and our relationship hasn't quite developed yet. It's about there to where he's going to want to do everything that I do, and
Yeah.
I can take him places, but he's very high energy, and so it's interesting, to say the least.
You brought up Netflix. Any go tos, or did you have any, or you just cut, like roll through everything?
I kind of rolled through everything. I started with Tiger King, and then
It was insane.
it was awesome.
I loved it. I loved it.
And then rolled through. I actually watched Riverdale, which is kind of like a teeny bopper show, but I don't really, I thought it was good. And then, just movies and comedies and different things like that.
I laughed. I watched because I thought you and Andy had like this mad mustache going, and I was like, man, that is so manly with that stash. That I remember you had one. I know Andy shaved it. I was like, I had to watch season 1 and 2 of Yellowstone, so I had, so I had a little bit of XP man points. So I didn't.
Yeah,
I can't grow a stash like it's like Patch Adams here, and like it's a Disgust stash there, and then there's no Grizzly Adams at all. So
Yeah, mine gets pretty out of control if I don't shave it, so I usually have to trim it every once in a while.
I wish I could grow a beard. It just looks terrible the more it gets. Baseball now, the state of baseball. Do you pay attention to that? Major League Baseball. Does that I guess I this is my opinion. I don't blame them because let's say this is the only chance you get to make that kind of money. I would want to protect that to the best of my ability. It's easy for me to say, well, I want you to play, you make millions of dollars. Well, not everyone realizes what about taxes, there's fees, there's attorneys, there's, all that stuff that gets taken out of it. $1 million might end up being 500,000.
Yes,
What's your thoughts on that?
I don't, it's really kind of one of those decisions that, the players are the players, so they know what it is, and I can't really speak on their behalf necessarily. The only thing I do know is that these guys' career could end at any moment. So having $1.5 million that you make versus $500,000.
Yeah. Who am I to tell you you
Yeah,
can't do that?
that's $1 million difference that you may have plans to start your own baseball academy, or you may have plans to buy a ranch, or I mean, look at several different professional baseball players that are since retired that are very successful. Like they had that money to start that up, and then you have that money to start up businesses, which is what a lot of them do. Then they employ people.
Yeah.
So you're not affecting just that player.
Yeah.
You're affecting families of somebody they might employ. You're affecting their family. You might even be affecting the generations of family to come after them. And they were given a gift.
Yeah.
So if the money is there to be made, then why not? Same point as an owner. If he's worth $2 billion. Well, how do you think he got to be worth $2 billion?
Yeah, no
By
kidding.
making decisions like this,
Yes.
that I'm only going to pay my employees X number of dollars. Well, could he afford it? Probably. Does he have to afford it? No.
Yeah.
Like he's your boss.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of see it from both sides. And I always try to do that. I always try to see both sides of the story, and I do see both sides of this story.
Yeah,
So I
I do
don't
too.
I don't guess I really have a opinion.
What's some of your fondest memory? Wichita,
Right.
The region tournament.
Right. I mean that was fun. That was kind of one of those deals that we're gonna try to make a tradition, and try to get back there as frequently as we can. I would say fondest memories are probably just time spent with the players
Yeah.
and road trips, and seeing them in the locker room and before practice, after practice, and kind of being able to interact with them. And then more so now is just the guys I get to stay in touch with.
Yeah.
Because you're with these guys for 2 years with a little 2-month break during the 2 summers, and
You almost spend more time with them than your own kids at times.
there's no question.
And I know what's some of your biggest wins you've had since here? Like what's some ones that you pulled it out, and you anyone stand out?
Well, I know 2 years ago, I think we beat we had 8 wins against top 25 teams, which are 10 wins against top 25 teams. I'd have to look back. We're not huge on wins and losses necessarily. So anytime you beat certain teams, you feel like you did something, and that's where we're trying to get is if you beat us, we want you to feel like you did something.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I wouldn't say there's any that just kind of necessarily stick out. I mean, I guess when we won, we came from behind and beat Dodge City to go to Wichita, and we scored.
That's what I was kind of remembering.
We scored. I think we scored 7 in the last inning, and we were down by 4 going into the last inning, and scored 7 and went out and held them and got to go. So
when you're not coaching, what are you doing? Hobbies? What's something that get you going through the off season or get you?
I like to hunt, fish, smoke meat. Just typical man stuff.
Man stuff. Well, man, I'm excited to see what you guys do, and I appreciate you stopping by, and we look forward to doing this again.
Yep,
All right.
sounds good.